Josh, Living Life Alcohol Free, coming at you live with a new live stream. And we do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Glad that you're here. And if you're coming back for more, thank you so much for tuning in. And let me just get this straight going on here. All right. So last meeting, we had somebody bring up asking me if I was sure I was going to heaven. So I kind of made this topic about that. Obviously, we're talking about sobriety and living alcohol free. If you were here on Monday, Memorial Day, you know that I was kind of talking about what it was like to live sober during holidays and what that's like and how it's been beneficial for me to experience life alcohol free and going to these live events, these holiday events, cookouts, all these kinds of things, sober. And what that's been like for me, it's been awesome. And it's been eye opening, to say the least, to go from somebody who used these occasions to drink to oblivion to a point where I enjoy going to these places alcohol free. Man, it's so much better to not have to think about drinking. And so, but today's topic is, am I going to heaven? And I had a good answer the other day. I particularly thought it was a good answer. Um, but I had to kind of look up and see about a couple things. Like one question was, um, are you do you think that Jesus is sin because he's taken all the sin on? And my idea, basically, from what I've learned over this period of time that I've grown in my faith these past couple years, 2, 3 years, is that God takes our sin and gives us grace. Jesus takes our sin and gives us grace. And it's been huge in my sobriety to have my faith in tandem with my sobriety, because I can kind of, when I'm beating myself up, I mean, we beat ourselves up. We make poor choices sometimes, even as non-drinkers, right? We still have guilt. We still have feelings that we're neglecting our loved ones. We're not taking the time to give them what they need. But the bottom line is, first and foremost, is that we have to be spiritually um, aware and be able to give ourselves that basic need, uh, those basic needs, in order to help others and give them what they are craving as well. But that's really what I believe Jesus wants for us. He wants us to, first of all, surrender to him, give him all the glory, give God all the glory, and in return, we get the grace, the patience that we need in order to not just continue on in sobriety, um, but grow in our lives, our mental health, our physical well-being, to be able to give us and nourish ourselves, to be able to do the things that we need to do in our life. I mean, just because we quit drinking doesn't mean life gets easier, right? I mean, uh, in fact, in some ways, it gets more difficult. I mean, we're trying to cope with life with something without something that we used our entire life to cope with, and to not have that security blanket is it can be hard. It can be difficult, and so. But back to the question at hand: how do I know that I'm going to heaven? Well, first and foremost, what sobriety has been able to give me is an even keel. I'm able to be on an even keel every day. I'm not like too high or too low. And what happened in the beginning was that I noticed that I feel better not drinking. I'm not up too high and I'm not down too low. But I thought all those years that I drank that alcohol was exciting. How many of us think that alcohol is exciting because, man, it makes us feel like really on top of the world? But then we're dealing with the fallout where we feel like we're on the bottom of the world the next day. We're hungover, we're feeling terrible, right? So, but we're willing to give up today or tomorrow to have a great today. And that saying I've heard a few times over the years, and it's so true. As drinkers, we're willing to give up and sacrifice so much uh, of tomorrow just so we can have a fun and eventful day today. But the problem with that is that we're giving up uh, consistency. As a non-drinker and someone who doesn't turn or even think to turn to alcohol anymore, I can tell you that it's consistent. There's growth in that. So without alcohol, I'm ascending. As a drinker, I would have been okay if I was just staying status quo. But what was really happening was I was going descending. I was going down. I wasn't getting better. I was getting worse. I was getting angrier. I was getting more irritable. I wasn't able to deal with life. I wasn't able to deal with the things that life was throwing at me. And so, what about you guys? I mean, where are you with your drinking? Are you finding that it's not beneficial to you anymore? Are you finding? I mean, are you curious about what life is like as a sober person? Because I can tell you that I could never have imagined a life without alcohol as a drinker. Um, I couldn't imagine. It sounded boring, and I still hear people every now and then say like, I'm not trying to live some kind of a sober life. Adam Duritz from the Counting Crows being the one that comes to mind, and maybe he doesn't have a problem with alcohol. And there's people out there that can just drink a one or two, or some people, I don't know if you can drink 8 beers and consider that healthy drinking. uh, I have a good friend that, I mean, he'll drink like binge drink maybe once every now and then, once a month, once every couple months, have like 8 or 9 or 10 beers, and then not drink, or maybe just have one here and there. But that was never me. So I couldn't imagine living a life without drinking alcohol. It just wasn't something that I was looking to do, and it wasn't that I didn't want sobriety. I very much wished that I could kind of live a sober life. And being someone who uh, was a binge drinker and would take days off here and there, I knew that I felt better on the days that I didn't drink. So I kind of knew what a sober life could feel like, but it just still felt like relief whenever I would get to that binge drink session. And and like I said, I wasn't able to spiritually grow in that mindset. There was no way for me to grow in my faith, grow closer to Jesus, even believe in Jesus. I mean, I always believed in God, but I was on the fence about Jesus for a long time. I mean, I knew that I didn't want to continue making the poor choices, the sins that I had been making for pretty much my entire life. And it's not that I'm going to not continue to make mistakes or sin. It's just that I'm in the process of being sanctified. I mean, I'm honest with my sinful ways with Jesus, and I pray to God every day. and I'm honest about where I am with it. Like, I know that I still continue to do bad things. I make poor choices. I make I make poor choices. That's just the way that we are as human beings. And sometimes it's not intentional. I mean, sometimes it is intentional, right? That thing that we know that is holding us back, that we know we shouldn't do, we do it anyway. But then there's sometimes that, we like, especially if we're acting irrationally because we're hungry or we're tired and we feel like, we're doing too much, but we forget to take time, the time that it needs to walk away from that feeling, take a break, and kind of rejuvenate, eat something, pray, uh, do whatever we need to do that we're not like lashing out at our kids, our spouses, our dogs, our cats, our pets. And so so here's how I know that I'm going to heaven. So I got two stories, and I wasn't able to finish these stories on the last live stream that I did because my microphone died at the end. And if you were there, thank you for joining me. But so when I was 11 years old, I went to a Christian camp with my neighbor, who was his family went to church every Sunday. They were very avid churchgoers. Me, on the other hand, I wasn't in a religious family at all. Nobody, my mom or dad, and I was an only child, so I didn't have siblings. But my mom and dad weren't like churchgoers or even follow the Bible or followed any religion at all, really. So, but I thought I'll go to this camp with my friend because, man, it looks fun. I mean, who doesn't want to go swimming in the swimming hole there, play flag football, have marsh cook out marshmallows, roast marshmallows with friends at night, stuff like that. It sounds like fun. So, of course, my mom helped me pack, and then the rules on the of the camp were one of the rules was don't bring food. No food, no candy, no none of that stuff coming from the outside. So, but I didn't take that advice. I packed stuff. I packed candy. I packed a whole bag of my favorite candy, put it on the bottom of the my bag, took it with us. Day one, put it in the teepee, and I was with probably like 8 other kids and then a counselor. And somebody told the counselor, or the counselor got wind that I had candy with me, and he confronted me about it on the way back to the campsite. And he asked me if I had candy in my bag, and I said I can't remember if I fessed up to it or not, but I think I probably did. Knowing me, I was like, no, but yeah, but anyway, he looked on the bottom of my bag, found the candy, and said, "Can you stay afterwards tonight? I have something I want to talk to you about." And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm in trouble. Like, are they going to call my parents? Is he going to, reprimand me? Am I going to get kicked out or get in trouble?" But I stayed after, and it went a totally different direction than I was ever used to with like my parents or with any superiors at all. I always felt like I was being like condemned whenever I would make a bad decision. This counselor basically asked me, have you ever taken Christ into your heart?" And I said, Not really." And he said, "Well, would you like to?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, I'd like that." I've always liked the idea of living like Jesus. So he said, "Well, let me just share with you a simple prayer, and you can say this prayer whenever you need to, once a day, 10 times a day, just whenever. And it is, ask God for forgiveness, thank Him for everything that He's given you, and ask Him to be in your heart at all times." And that was just a simple prayer. And he said a prayer with me. and basically said, we all make poor choices sometimes. It happens. Just try not to let it happen again. And I was like, like that blew my mind. Like that somebody could be that kind to me after I made a bad choice. And that made me, it brought me closer to God, uh, because I got the grace that I was looking for at that time. And that was number one. And that was the biggest thing. Like I didn't plan on converting into Christianity when I was 11 years old at that camp, but that's really what that counselor helped me do, helped me see. So I continued on with that simple prayer of those three things for the next few years. And in fact, I still use that prayer to this day. But what happened when I turned to alcohol at 15 was that I found a relief in alcohol right away. My parents had got divorced when I was like 14, and that year was like tumultuous. It was ridiculous. It was things that I had to deal with that I didn't even want to have to deal with. And I don't want to call out any of my parents, but I was going through things that they couldn't help me with, but they were making it worse. and and so just being a kid, it's like, man, I just need some relief from this. And I never considered turning to like drugs or alcohol as a kid, but when I went to high school and my friend had a sister who had alcohol at her place 24/7, and they'd take trips and leave that alcohol there, and we'd go try it. It was like, man, it was a relief to find something to quiet all those anxieties and all those worries. So it started out to be like a weekend thing where you would just go drink on the weekends whenever we could get some from his sister, or then we'd start doing the hey dude at the convenience stores, having people run in and grab us beer and whatever. But that started to turn into like, man, I just need to get it whenever I can during the week and stuff. And then you start turning to alcohol more and more, and it becomes a daily thing. And then maybe you turn to marijuana, you turn to other drugs, and whatever vice that you have. And then, so for me, I had alcohol and this prayer kind of battling each other all the time. And it was, it was a situation where the alcohol was winning out. The alcohol was winning the battle every day of my spirit and my soul, and it was wearing on me. So that's just what happened in my teenage years. But that battle continued on for pretty much my entire life. And when I was able to get sober when I was 42 years old, I uh, I ended up turning to my faith and actually started to lean on God more. Uh, when I found a church when I was like 45, so it was like 3 years into my sobriety, and I had pancreatitis. I had this severe case of acute pancreatitis, and this is when I really knew God was working in my life. So the pain was in my back uh, in the afternoon. As the day progressed, it kind of moved up into my rib cage, and then eventually it started moving down into my abdomen. I've had pain in my abdomen over the years. It comes and goes, but this got down in there and it lingered, and it was getting worse and worse. And then it got to the point where I could barely like breathe. I was short of breath. I texted my wife. I was just finishing up my work shift, and how you doing, Roderick? Welcome. Glad that you're here. Um, so yeah, I had this pain, and I texted my wife. I said, man, I don't know what's going on, but I don't know if I can make it back to my parking lot to get my car because this pain is so bad. I feel like I'm doubling over. And, man, she didn't really have too much of advice, but I got on the expressway and I drove a few miles and I didn't want to go any further because there was like 8 miles in between the next exits. So I got off. I called my work. I said, the pain is getting worse in my stomach and I don't know what to do. So she said, um, well, I think you got to call 911 if it's that bad. And in the meantime, we'll send over another driver to um, take your van, but wait with you while EMS comes. So EMS uh, was on their way, and that other driver um, showed up. Never met him before in my life, and he said, "Are you?" I said, "Man, I'm scared." I was like, I couldn't get comfortable. I was moving around in the seat. I was like, man, oh God, oh man. And I said I was scared actually, and because I kind of was. I felt like I might die. The pain was like 11 out of 10. I mean, it was bad. And he said, well, don't be scared. He said, he asked me, are you a praying man? And I said, yeah. And it was on that at that moment where I was like, I didn't even think about praying during this time because I was in such pain that it never occurred to me to pray. And he said, is it okay if I pray for you? And I said, absolutely. So he said a prayer for me, and it was like it didn't take away my pain, but it made the worry kind of go away because it brought me back closer to God. And then I thought, man, how cool is this that that my work sent me someone I've never met before. Out of 60 or 70 drivers, they sent the one that prayed for me, and that really resonated with me because, man, I ended up in the hospital for 4 days at that time, and just really not knowing what it was exactly that caused the pancreatitis because I didn't drink. I wasn't a drinker, and I didn't have gallstones. They did a scan for that, but they did know that it was pancreatitis, and but I used that prayer to my advantage that week and thought, man, no matter what happens, man, God is looking out for me, and I no longer look at the world like it's the universe anymore. I look at it like it's God, and that's what sobriety and knowing that there's people in this world and being more trustworthy of people and when things go bad for me, God shows up for me, and that really helps me to know that I can have heaven here on earth. It might not be perfect. I still struggle. It's not always perfect, even being sober, um, but things tend to God tends to show up when I need Him, and that just goes to show that it pays to have faith and believe, surrender. And when we do that, we do things for God's glory. We start to go up, we start to ascend, we start to grow. And when we're stuck in addiction and drinking all the time or doing drugs or whatever, uh, we're going like down. We're descending. We're not going up. We're not even staying the same. We're going down. And sobriety is and growing in my faith has given me the ability to grow in my faith and grow in my life, my mental health. It's given me back my clarity, my mental stability, and I no longer feel ashamed about the choices that I make. And when we are feeling guilty all the time and we're making those choices over and over and over again, that guilt eventually leads to shame. There's no doubt about it. And that's just what happens when we're stuck in our addiction. And being in an addiction is it's such a selfish and a lonely thing. And God doesn't want us there. But sometimes I feel like God put me there and put me through that to show me that there is a better way. And when we live that better way, we don't want to go back to it. We don't want to go back to drinking. So I know that there's heaven on earth, and I know that eventually, you know, what I have been doing in my life over these past 5 years is going to carry me over into the afterlife. It's going to carry me. It's going to take my soul places that I never thought I could go, and I don't have to live with that broken soul of drinking all the time. And that's been a huge blessing in my life, and I think it can be for you too. So wherever you are in your journey, please take solace in the fact that you're here. I've got a sobriety group. It's called Sobriety in the Storm. It's a private group on Facebook. I pin the links in all my videos. Please check out some of my videos and click on that link. Come on over and join the group. I'd love to have you. Just got to answer a few simple questions. One most important thing is, why do you want to get sober? What are you looking to achieve with sobriety? And yeah, we can go from there. So please like and subscribe to my channel if you found this video or any other videos helpful. And thanks for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great sober day, everybody.